Yeah, of course I'm the front line.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'll be talking about my initial impressions of the Nightfall. Has it finally been balanced? Or is it still a non-stop killing machine? Let's find out. So, since it's only my initial impressions, I've only played this weapon for around maybe 2 to 3 hours in total. So that's like 15 matches? 15, 30 matches, something like that. So I do expect this video to go quicker. So before we do get started, however, let's talk about what this weapon was like before 2.0 and this change, maybe that happened like a few weeks ago. So, before this radical change, the Nightfall actually shot with a much larger curvature, akin to something like what the Badger was, or is currently. In addition, this weapon didn't have some sort of charge-up time mechanic involved, so you can easily just let it rip as soon as you see someone, without having to pre-charge it per se. It dealt out 100 damage, so that's still the same, and you would still get extra points based on the fact that you quote-unquote stuck them. And that's still the case right now, at least for now. The Nightfall after this radical change still does, 100 damage, and you still get the extra points. But however, since the Nightfall originally is a crossbow, the curvature while aiming has been decreased a lot. So now it's like almost a straight line, and you can compare it to like a sniper almost. In addition to this change rather, the Nightfall has a charge up time involved. And this charge up time is currently sitting at 0.8 seconds. So you can compare this charge up time to the velocitas. That's how you would treat it. So I personally believe this charge up time that was actually suggested by Devoted himself is a game changer for the Nightfall. Because currently, I'm no longer confident in going close ranges against other weapons, as I believe the Nightfall's playstyle has been completely changed. It feels more as a support weapon, as you would expect, unlike in 1.0 and before this change, where I could pretty much go in alone and have a pretty high chance of taking someone out. Of course, skill factors into this, but having this crutch, if you would, really, molds this weapon into those playstyles we're looking for in Armajet. So it feels, as mentioned, more like a support weapon now. You would still do well if you had teammates covering you, maybe with a Black Tusk or an Iron Bark, something like that. And it's a great for team play. It's a great shift into what I'm assuming the dev team wanted in the first place, like a ranged weapon with a similar playstyle to snipers, rather than a great jack-of-all-trades. This, in fact, will balance out the weapon for the casual players. Remember, I'm only talking about players who are decent at the game or just beginning out. Players like Lucas or even May will still do well with the Nightfall because they're already used to the weapon and they're already used to the velocitas. So just combining these two, functions, it'll be like a smaller learning curve per se. And they'll adapt much more quickly. But, as mentioned, the casuals will definitely feel some pain using this weapon until they master that much larger learning curve. So yeah, overall, based on my initial impressions, I'm feeling like it's pretty balanced, at least to the regular player. Yet again, will my thoughts change as I put in more hours into the weapon? Maybe. But so far, I don't think my opinions will differentiate. But if I do decide I have some other thoughts about this weapon, I'll make sure it's known in a future video. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It went from being a great weapon before this patch to a good weapon. You can still do well with it. It has a much higher learning curve. And players who have done well with the Nightfall beforehand, I'm pretty sure will be doing the same amount. Just an example, before we do wrap up, is for the best of beta 1.0, that tournament, Lucas won with the Nightfall. And the tournaments after this change with the Nightfall, I really don't see it in the competitive scene so far, at least in competitive play. Like in these tournaments, I mainly see, snipers or thunderstorms or, something like Ironbark. Black Tusk is a great weapon still. And yeah, I feel like this really revolutionized the weapon as more of a support sort of character. And it, decreases the amount of players using it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't want to keep rambling on. And I hope you do agree with my comments. And if you don't, let me know what you think about the weapon. And as usual, like, subscribe, comment. And if you do like what you're seeing here, make sure you subscribe. And yeah, peace.
You just want attention. You don't